breathe down your neck. That is the block party.
Hudson finishes off Kentucky.
Purdue gets to celebrate. They take down number 3.
And the Boilers have done it. They advance to the Sweet 16 for the 5th.
Welcome back to the Dig City Podcast, brought to you by Franciscan Health, the official medical provider of Purdue Athletics, and the Dig City Podcast. I'm Corey Palm. He's head coach Dave Shondell. Coach, we haven't had to do this yet, but we are getting together the week after a loss on the docket. Actually, 2 of them as the road trip to Kansas. The Boilermakers come back 1-2. I know you talked yesterday at your weekly press conference that, taken in context, things aren't ever as bad as they seem. Things aren't ever as good as they seem. What are your sort of takeaways from the weekend?
Well, I felt like we ran into some really good teams, and we knew we were going to when we scheduled this tournament. A year ago when we went to Kansas, it was a very uplifting affair. We beat Marquette, who was ranked in the top 15, and we beat Kansas, who was ranked in the top 15 or 20, and kind of turned our season around. Mm-hmm. This year we went in, sailing pretty high, and ran into a Kansas team that has everybody back basically, with the exception of one player from the team a year ago, and they were really good. Mm-hmm. I think that we're more physical than they are. They just didn't make many mistakes, and we couldn't win the close sets. Mm-hmm. Every set was close. Every set was right down to the wire, and we had opportunities. We just couldn't close the door on this Kansas team. But I give credit to Kansas. I like their team. I think that they're picked to win the Big 12, and looking at that league, I think they've got a good shot to do that. Then after a short turnaround, we play Creighton.
Very quick turnaround, yeah.
And Creighton had not played. We played Kansas, a four-set brouhaha, if you will, and then Creighton comes in and has not played since the prior Sunday. And I thought that was a little bit of an advantage. As that match wore on, you could kind of see it, opportunities that we had to try to score late in set 4, and we looked like we just didn't have quite as much as we needed to get that done. But that's our own fault, I guess, for all those things. But Creighton is a really good team. They have everything that they need to win matches and go very, very deep into the NCAA tournament. And there are only 2 losses this year, Corey. One was at Nebraska in 5, and one was at Louisville in 5. So 2 of the top 4 teams in the country, they're knocking on the door in their gyms of beating those 2 teams. So they're legitimate, and pretty much we had the same kind of match with them. We're up 24-22 in the 4th,
yep.
And can't find a way to put a ball away or dig enough balls or whatever it might be to win that one. But I really felt like we played well against Creighton. I mean, I guess that tells you how good I think that they are.
Yeah.
Is we played a really good match. Again, they're a veteran team. They return a lot of players. They picked up 2 transfers that are 5th-year kids. We haven't found out how to do that yet. And that's probably, a fault of mine, or the fact that we just don't have a lot of openings on our roster to go out and look for people and bring them in. But nonetheless, great competition, great crowds. It was interesting. Kansas sold out the match with us.
Sure.
Their venue is just a little smaller than ours. It probably holds maybe 2,200 would be my guess. It's a facility that they just opened up a year ago. Very nice, right next to. Help me out with the name of their venue.
Fog Allen?
Yeah, right next to Fog Allen, which seems to be in renovation every time we go over there. But anyway, a great facility to play volleyball in. And then when we played Creighton, you'd have thought it was a Creighton home match because they had probably 500 people that had come over 2.5-hour drive from Omaha. So anyway, we dropped those 2, and fortunately we bounced back against Tulsa, who's a pretty good team. They were 8-2 or 8-3 when we played them, and had played people really tough. They beaten Arkansas. They went 5 with Oklahoma. And so I'm just hoping that we have enough gas left, to be able to get the job done against them. And fortunately, we did. We actually got better as that match went on, and we're able to come home with 1 win, and a lot of maybe some more questions, or at least some more things that we know that now that we need to work on to get ready for the Big Ten that starts tomorrow.
And that's the whole point of the non-conference schedule, is to get ready for the conference slate, which, like you said, starts faster than it seems like it should, but it's going to be full of challenges, and it's going to be full of adversity, and to have your team sort of face some of that, see how they respond, is a key part of every season.
Yeah, your non-conference has a lot of objectives, I think. One is to try to put yourself in a position where, from an RPI standpoint, you got a chance to, number one, make the NCAA tournament, number two, host the first and second round, or if you're really, really fortunate and really, really good,
Right.
you can host the first 4 rounds of the NCAA tournament, which is the dream, I guess, for every team. And, we're sitting at 9-2. RPI right now is, I think, 14.
Okay.
Which it's too early to really dictate that. I mean, we have some teams that we played. I take the first weekend. Kansas State, was a team that I think was a top 25 team. Problem is they played nothing but top 25 teams, and they've been getting beat.
Yeah.
I think eventually that that they will rise to the occasion. They'll start winning matches. UMBC plays in a conference in where they win almost every match, but they go out non-conference and they schedule every good team they can find.
Get beat up.
And they get beat up. So right now, their records aren't helping our RPI. I think as the season progresses, that can change, and they'll start to win matches, and that will help us with our RPI.
That makes sense. And all that being said, even with those sort of blemishes and teams that are probably going to help better in the second half than in the first, to be top 15 RPI is it speaks to the difficulty of the schedule overall so far,
Yeah.
and sort of how your teams performed.
Yeah, really, there's no reason for us to be, feeling sorry for ourselves. We're playing well. We've got a good team. We're not as deep as we'd like to be, but we have good players, and we compete, and we play hard, and we're making progress. And we run into a really strong opponent tomorrow in Penn State, and then after we play Penn State on Wednesday, we travel to Minnesota and play another top. I think they're in the top 15. I haven't checked for
they
sure.
are 16 this
16.
week.
Two of the best teams in the league, right, in the first week. So we'll know where we stand, I think, in about 4 or 5 days.
Definitely. Before last word on last weekend, to see your team be able to come out on Saturday and on 18 hours rest after back-to-back, deflating losses, to come out and just take care of business against a good Tulsa team that had to. I mean, it's a nice way to end the weekend, and like you said, the flight home wasn't horrible.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
you had a little rainbow.
I really liked the way that our players approached that match. Somehow they found the energy and the intensity that they needed, hour and a half before the match. They were ready to go.
Yeah.
I think they recognized the value in us playing well in that match and going home on a more positive note. Again, Tulsa hasn't been beaten like that all year, and they've played a good schedule. Kansas beat them the day before, but not quite like we did. And so I felt like it was a credit to our players to get themselves really mentally engaged and understand the purpose of what we needed to do to get the ship righted. And now we come back. We had a good practice last night, and we need to get a few things done today before the Nittany Lions show up tomorrow.
We will preview that match with Penn State after a short break. Stick with us here in Dig City. The Dig City podcast is brought to you by Franciscan Health, the official medical provider of Purdue Athletics. At Franciscan, we are inspiring health. Now back to the show. Welcome back to the Dig City podcast. Coach, like you said, Big Ten play gets off to a rousing start. Number 4, Penn State comes to Holloway Gym tomorrow. That's Wednesday, live on the Big Ten Network. If you can't make it out to Holloway. Penn State comes in 10-1 and actually only fell one spot in the poll. It's been a wild poll. Beyond Pittsburgh at the top, it's been a little topsy-turvy here in the opening month, and I know a lot of it has to do with top teams scheduling against top teams, as we've seen with 3 top 10 matches for your squad in the last week. But what do you know at this juncture about the Nittany Lions?
Well, Penn State is, one of the traditional powerhouses in the sport of volleyball, and Russ Rose, was a household name in athletics. Really, to be honest with you, what he did, and then Katie has come in and done a terrific job of keeping things pointed in the right direction, and has had great success on the transfer portal, probably as much success as anybody has, to get players in there and keep the machine rolling the way that I think Penn State fans can be pretty proud of. And I think the team that she has this year, they have 3 freshmen, 1 true freshman in the lineup, and then 2 redshirt freshmen that both transferred from Nebraska. They're middles. One of those transfers is a middle, and she'll pair up with Taylor Trammell, who started her career here at Purdue and is just playing great volleyball right now. She's just a terrific middle blocker for them. The 2 outside hitters are Merzek, who started at Michigan, played a couple of years at Michigan, and now she's been, I think this is her 3rd year. She's a 5th-year kid, as is Taylor. Both are 5th-year kids. So they're left sides. And then they got another 5th-year kid, I believe, Cameron Hanna, who came from Clemson, that is a really good athlete, originally out of Chicago. Got a libero that I think is homegrown, has been with Penn State the whole time, and a really good little player. And backcourt kid that's a freshman that we're familiar with. So they've got really good athletes. How they're different a little bit from what we've played a lot this year is they have some youth, okay, and we have some youth.
Yep.
So I think that puts us on a little bit more of an even playing field for this early in the season. Like I mentioned the other day, at some point in time, youth isn't youth anymore, okay? You can't talk about, we're playing 3 or 4 sophomores or whatever else, okay? It's your players against their players, let's go play. And they've had enough time to figure out what they're doing. So, but I think that this will be a really tough match. 2 teams that have competed really, really well against each other the last 3 years. Since Katie has arrived, I think that we've had some great battles with them, and I would expect this to be another one.
Definitely. It's important, we've seen in years past, to get off to a positive start in the Big Ten if you want to be, fighting for that crown
Right.
at the end of the season. No better way to do it, really, than to take on another top team early and maybe, feel each other out, get one against the Nittany Lions before, like you said, that youth gets a little more experienced.
Well, it would be a really good win for us. There's no doubt about that. And I talked to our athletic director, Mike Babinski, just a little bit ago, and I think it's a 50-50 type match going in at it. I mean, obviously they're ranked higher than we are, but we're playing on our home boards of Beelan Court. So, and I think, our kids are coming off a weekend where they can't be too happy about the way that they played. So if we can muster up the focus and the intensity, then I think it will be a great match. I know our fans are very eager to see us play. We've been gone for 3 consecutive weekends, 8 matches in a row we played on the road. And I think when you consider that coming out 9-2 isn't a terrible thing. I think that at the start of the season, if somebody said, well, you can be 9-2, I'd say, well, I'd like to be a little bit better than that, but that will put us in a position, I think, to reach our goals if we can continue to get better and play well during the Big Ten season.
Definitely. I was going to mention that next is 3 straight weeks away from home is unusual in September. I know the fans are going to be itching to get out there and provide a little bit of a boost for this team. How important do you think, we talk about it all the time, great environment, but the fans need to bring it from swing 1 tomorrow night? They need
to make an impact on this match. There's no doubt about that, and I know they will. I mean, they always do. Our students, I think that they're as good as any student section in the country, and would probably say they're the best as far as being loyal and being creative and being there every night. They've been great, but they've got to bring us something a little extra special, I think, for this match to help us get to the position we need to be in. And like I say, winning the first match is important. It's not the end of the world. It's a 20-match season. It's like I told our team this past weekend. I said, this is more of a marathon than it is a sprint.
Yeah.
And, we have to try to figure out how we're going to be the best we can every night. And if we can do that and have great success, then our goals are still within reach.
Definitely. You and Penn State have one common opponent, though, thus far this season. You've both played Kentucky. You've both beaten Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
They needed 5 to win in Lexington a few weeks back.
Right.
Are you able to draw anything from that, or have the analytics gone so far beyond that it doesn't really matter to see how a team a team you scouted, matches up with a team you're scouting?
Well, I pay attention not just to the one match, but what have they done against people, and what have those people done, and how have we done against certain teams, and what do the scores look like, and things like that. I think their most impressive win was beating Louisville at home. Last year they went to Louisville and got their ticket punched. They returned the favor to Louisville this year, so I'm sure there was a lot of purpose in how they played in that particular match, and that caught up with Louisville pretty quickly. That was at Rec Hall in Happy Valley. They beat Tennessee, which was a good win on the road. This past weekend they beat They beat Yale in 4, and they beat James Madison in 3. And James Madison, I think, was a tournament team a year ago. But you can look at it, and I do. I look at that, and that's why I look at it and think this looks like a pretty even matchup.
Yeah.
Okay, two different kind of teams, but a really good matchup. And last year's competition just showed how tight it was. I think we won both matches, but they were both really, really tight.
Yep.
And they return 3 big-time players, getting some help with some younger players now, and we have pretty much the same squad back as we did a year ago. So hopefully we've made enough progress during the offseason that can offset the additions that they've gotten.
Talking specifically about, we know the returners on the squad. Everybody's familiar with them. One of the newcomers on your team, Ryan McAleer, who you expected to make an impact immediately as a freshman. She's looked really good in the opening months.
I think she's been better than advertised, to be honest with you. We constantly, and she likes to be coached. There are some players that just don't like to be coached. She feeds on on feedback. She wants that. She wants to be coached and taught, and knows that that's how you get better. And so I really like having her in our gym, and she has been maybe our best serve receiver in the last 2 weekends. She's just got a great feel for passing serve. And her serve has been pretty good. She's only about 5'4.5", 5'5". She likes to think she's bigger than that.
Play bigger than that.
A lot of people, short in stature like to feel that way. But she serves the ball tough. She's understanding. She hasn't always played the right back position, which is where she's playing right now. She's growing up, she was libero, so she was a lot of left back. And so that's taken a little bit of time for her to grasp that concept of what to look for and how to move and what kind of plays you have to make. But she's been terrific. There's no doubt she's been a real positive addition to our squad.
Anybody else jumping off the page for you? I know you're getting consistently good performance from your top outsides.
Yeah, well, our lefts are playing very, very well. I think there's still more in the tank for them, and I think that we've got to continually find different ways to get them the ball than just continually setting them the ball out by the pin, which is all we've really done so far. And down the road, I think that we'll start to try to move them around a little bit more. But they've been great. What I like about both Chloe Chacoin and Eva Hudson is how their complete game is improving. Their serve receive game is improving. Their defensive play and middle back is getting better. Serving is something that has to continue to get tougher and tougher. And that's just not them. That's everybody on our roster. Right now, Raven Colvin is serving a rocket over the net and doing a lot of good things for us. Julia Kane, who we may have mentioned a little bit last weekend, but she's come in and is doing some serving for us, and her point scoring percentage is the highest on the team because she really gets after it and plays with ice water in her veins. Doesn't let things bother her much at all. So we just have to get some other people to start serving that ball tough. And funny thing was, I thought we served the ball really, really well this weekend. We just played against a couple of teams, especially Creighton, that every time we served the ball, they just put it around the money. It didn't matter how tough the serve was. They were putting the ball right to the setter. And we'll see if that continues against the teams that we're going to play this weekend. I really felt after playing Creighton was that might have been the best passing team we'd seen all season. and Kansas wasn't bad either. So I think I don't want to lose our minds that we're not serving tough enough.
Sure.
Because the team passed us well. It could be that was just one of those weekends where teams were really good. And I think if we serve the same type of balls this weekend, we might have a little more success getting those teams out of system.
Okay, that's good to know. That's good to look out for. And I know you spoke about Julia a little bit yesterday at your press conference too. And
Okay.
How important
I know I
she is
spoke with her at some point in time.
How important she's been just as a sophomore
Yeah.
to make the contribution.
Who didn't play last year?
Right.
I mean, she was on the squad but hardly ever got on the floor. And then this year she's made some real positive, I think, adjustments in how she approaches practice and matches and life in general. And she does serve the tar out of the ball, and she can play defense. So it's not like you're just putting in somebody can serve. She also serves, and she plays pretty good defense. She understands that concept of it. And the other player that is doing a great job serving for us is Rachel Williams. Rachel is a redshirt freshman that we talked all preseason about what a great server she can be, and she certainly has met that quota. She is doing a great job with her serving. We sometimes use her to serve for Raven. I mean, Raven's got a real aggressive serve, and it's been remarkably consistent, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But when I know I've got to just make sure we put pressure on the opponent and not let them off the hook, sometimes I'll use Rachel, and Rachel is also very high in our point scoring for a server. So I mean, we're a much better serving team than we were a year ago. Okay, but we have to go where we want to go. We've got to increase and not be afraid to make an error.
Yeah.
People, I know fans, they hate to see service errors. I think, how can you not serve the ball in the court? Well, there's more to it than that. You just serve the ball in the court, they're going to be hitting balls off your nose. Okay, so you have to serve the ball tough, keep them out of system, so they're being set a ball 10 feet off the net or whatever, and you can then dig the ball, and then you're back on offense again. So that's kind of the entire theory behind that.
So much of the strategy that goes into that is so fascinating. It's fun to learn. It's fun to watch it play out. One last thing before we let you go. I know you've got a Big Ten Network couple of Big Ten Network obligations today.
Yeah.
We talked about it last week. Hope you didn't wait to get your tickets.
Yeah.
Because the Mackey matches have officially sold out. Congratulations on that. That's awesome.
Congratulations to our fans.
Yes.
And thank you to our fans. It was funny that last thing we knew, there were about 1,000 left for each match, and then 2 days later they were gone.
Yep.
And now they're on SeatGeek and StubHub, and everywhere else for about $100 a pop. So I hope our people went out and got those. Those will be two tremendous matches, ones I don't think fans will forget. Indiana on the 19th and Wisconsin on the 26th, still a ways away. But what a great environment that will be for us. I know our players have to be thrilled with the fact that they know that our fans are going to be out there 14,800 strong, and our understanding is that if those people all show up, they'll break the record for a Big Ten match in attendance. So I'm excited about that. But more importantly, I just want them to turn Mackey Arena into the same type of environment that I see when I go in there. I see Matt Painter's team play, and I think it will be that kind of a scene. So I'm excited about that, and very, very grateful to our fans and our administration and all the people that helped make that happen.
No doubt. Well done, Boiler Nation. Can't wait to see you out there. That's something to look forward to down the road. Something to look forward to immediately is that match tomorrow night against Penn State.
Yeah, and again, I do think that our fans will make a big difference in this match. I mean, we have to be ready early, and we're so thankful that we have this student section. We're thankful for our community support that comes out. And I know my phone's been ringing off the hook for people trying to get tickets, and I'm pretty much out at this point in time. But it'll be a good atmosphere, and I just think our fans haven't seen us for like a month. It's been a month. And so I know that they'll be excited, and hopefully that we'll respond to being back in the friendly confines of Holloway Gym.
I know sometimes those midweek matches are tough to get to. At least it's a 7 o'clock start, not an early 6 o'clock start. But get there, be there for first serve, make a difference.
Yep.
Coach,
Boiler up.
Boiler up.
Hammer down.